Okay, so I'll compare the intern from here, the US, which is a first year resident, to the first year resident work schedule in Costa Rica. Okay, so in summary, in Costa Rica, we have to do some extra shifts. So these extra shifts usually are every 4 to 5 days, approximately every 4 to 5 days. What does this mean? That after you end your usual work shift day, you have to stay in the hospital this extra shift. When are these extra shifts occurring? They happen when the regular workforce is going home. At what time does everyone go home usually? Most people, 4 p.m. And when should they come back? 7 a.m. of the next day. So that's the extra work shift every 4 to 5 days. So, for example, you have to work on a Monday and you have this extra shift on a Tuesday. So Monday would be 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. you go home. Tuesday you go from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., but you have your extra shift. So 15 minutes before 4 p.m., you tell whoever you're with, you tell them, I have to leave because I have to go for my extra shift. And today I'm in the ED department, or I'm in the ICU, or I'm in the wards, right? So they'll basically tell you, okay, see you later, see you tomorrow. So you leave and you have like 15 minutes to just go, run, grab your backpack. Maybe on the way, if there was a coffee and you were able to grab it, okay. But usually you don't have much time. And you get there at 4 p.m. And at 4 p.m. you start your shift. So you have to, it's not like you can rest till 5 p.m. No, at 4 p.m. you're either going to the ICU and going to see every patient one by one, the sign out, or you're getting the sign out from the ward teams, or you're actually doing going to the ED department and seeing all those papers, printed out papers. That was what happened before. There were 20 papers with just the names of the patients and their files right there, and you were like, oh man, I'm just finishing my shift and now I'm having to deal with 20 patients. Is any of these patients actively dying? Yeah, maybe, but you have to figure it out. You're like, what are the vital signs? Check on this one, check on so it's crazy. It's a nice experience. Wouldn't like to live it again, but it gets you out of the comfort zone, right? It makes you grow. So those are the options. So you start at 4 p.m. and then it goes until 7 a.m. Are you allowed to sleep during this extra shift? Yes. Okay, so this is interesting. So there are a couple rooms, which basically are the resident rooms in the hospital, where there's bunk beds. So a couple beds here, maybe there's only 2 beds. Usually there's a bunk bed here and one next to it, and there's usually like 4 beds. Sometimes there's 6. And in that room, there's also a refrigerator. There's usually a microwave. There's a table. So usually you have to be like some sort of a contortionist, right? Because if you're not good, like scooting, moving, flexible and everything, you won't be able to be eating at the table because someone will have to pass by. So you have to bring the chair right this because they want to get on that bunk bed, and their shoes are right there. So if they have smelly feet, everyone will have to deal with that and all those things, right? So yeah, it's not like the rooms are well designed in Costa Rica. It's just like, okay, this room was a patient room, but okay, we need the residents, so put in the bed there, okay, and let them have to build the bunk bed, right? Let them attach all the pieces. So bunk beds over there in Costa Rica, they move, right? And you're not sure if you're gonna fall down, and you usually are unsafe up in the second one and unsafe in the lower one. But well, okay, that's what usually happens. So you can sleep if everything is fine, right? So yeah, most of the time you're able to get in. I'll say it depends on how like interested you are in helping the patients, because there are some people that get there and you see them in their computer reading, they're checking emails, and then they're seeing a movie, then they're sleeping, and everyone is like, oh yeah, you're a white cloud. Yes, yeah. Are you a white cloud, or are you actually not interested in checking the glucose and working on the glucose for this patient and working on this, working on that? You're just interested if they call you to a code. So that may happen. So in my case, I was always being called, even family members of patients that I wasn't seeing. Hey doctor, do you know why my family member has been here for 4 days? And I was like, oh man, that's not my business. That's not something I should do, but okay, well, I'll help you out. So I had to go read the file or read it digitally, and I was like, okay, this. So suddenly the family member from the next bed is like, doctor, now that you're here and this. So I was able to sleep, but I was the one of the residents that slept the least. So that's why sometimes it took me it was a little more difficult for me to wake up in the morning, because I worked my ass off every of those shifts, or most of them. So basically, in summary, you will be able to sleep approximately 4 hours. 4 hours is like, okay, you slept. You slept. 2 hours is like, it was bad. It was bad, but at least you slept something. And not sleeping is like, oh man, it was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. And everyone's like, yeah. 2 hours is like, it was tough, man. 4 hours again is, nah, no, it was, yeah, I could sleep. 6 hours is like, damn, I hope my shift is like that. And if you say like I slept 8 hours, it's like, what did he do? Is, wow, I want to be on more of those shifts. I want to live here in the hospital. But that happens, that's not that often. Okay, so you'll work from 4 p.m. on that Tuesday to 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Then comes Wednesday. So you wake up around 6 a.m. and everyone's taking a shower. So right next to that room, there's usually a shower. Everyone's taking a shower. There's a line for the shower. So there's 4 residents ready to go to the shower, because I have to see patients. How many patients do you have? I have 5. And the other one is like, I have 10. Okay, you're going first. Where are you rotating? Oh no, these guys start their rounds first. So you go first to the bathroom. Blah blah blah. All that happens. So you have to negotiate and all that. And so the idea is that you're showered and everything before 7, because at 7 you already start your regular day of work again. So it's 7 again and you're already working on a Wednesday. So 7 to 4 p.m. So how many hours straight were you in the hospital? Approximately, if you count 7 a.m. On your Tuesday, that day's shift, plus the extra shift, plus your Wednesday's workday, you've been in the hospital approximately 32 hours. Those 32 hours could actually extend to 36 hours if you have a whole lot of patients and you had to get early on Tuesday and you had to leave late on Wednesday. So 33 to 36 hours is the time you had to be in that hospital. So now let's compare that continuous time with USA. The maximum amount of hours you should be in the US working is 12. So the shift, longest shift is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then come people which have a shift from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it's organized in rotations. That's why there's people in the US that is working a full month at night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Why is that the case? Because that makes it necessary, the need for people doing these extra shifts at night. Okay, is it good to work at night? No, it's not good to work at night. You're altering your circadian rhythm, right? But is that better, working like a night shift 1 month per year or 2 months a year? Is that better than every 4 days having to go nonstop sometimes, or go through the night till the next day and be 33 hours in the hospital? Yes, it's better. Why is it better? Because this has already been studied. There are several articles about this showing how iatrogenia increases when you are working nonstop. So 12 hours is tough enough. Now imagine having to go 33 hours straight without being able to sleep, because that happens. It happened a handful of times in my residency in Costa Rica. I could say maybe in 5 years, 10, 20 times or less. Not more than 20 for sure. 10 to 20 times. 10 to 15 probably, I guess. Imagine how you get out of the hospital after 33 hours. So you can kill yourself if you're driving. You can just faint. Anything can happen. You understand how to prioritize life after your 33 hours in the hospital. It gives you a whole new perspective to life. You don't argue with people. You don't have time to fight with anyone. You don't care about drama at all. You just want to eat, sleep, and be ready for the next day, right? Eat, sleep, and relax. So someone can be yelling at you, and you're like, whatever, have a nice day. Or you don't even hear it. Or all those things happen. So it's a nice experience. Yeah, it makes you grow. So I like seeing the glass half full, but it's not something you should be doing, because your patients are the ones that suffer and you suffer. And a lot of people have died due to this. So no, we don't want that anymore. That was the way it worked in the US decades ago, right? I'm not sure how long ago, but basically this happened a long time ago. And there was a specific case where there was I think it was an intern in New York, where this intern gave, I'm not sure, the inadequate dosing or something of a medication, that it wasn't the medication he thought it was. It was a sedative, because it mixed the word. But this in the end, this intern was working this long shift. So it was because they were sleepy. They made this mistake. So eventually the patient died, and the patient was the daughter of a lawyer. The lawyer took it to court, and it has this case has even a name. And after this, they were able to stop these extra shifts in the US and make it become day shift and night shift, and that's it. So you can't eliminate the night shift at all, because a hospital it's more important for a hospital to be open 24 hours than a casino, right? You need a hospital to be open all day, 24/7, always. So that being said, I already talked about how long is the maximum shift in the US versus Costa Rica. So 33 to 36 hours Costa Rica. Latin America, United States, 12 to, let's say, way too much would be 16 hours, 17 hours. If you were going out and there was a code of one of your patients and this and that, but usually the night team will tell you, leave. So okay, we need you to leave, and that's gonna happen. There's someone who should be in charge of that. So yeah, you will work. Imagine 12 to 16 hours versus 32 to 36. That's less than half what you will be straight in the hospital. But there's a caveat, which is that in the US you can't sleep. There's usually, in many hospitals, there's no rooms with beds. My hospital has it, but I've never gone there, because for 12-hour shift I'm not sleepy, or if I'm very tired, suddenly the shift is over, and it's unnecessary. But if you're extremely tired, there are beds just in case. Let's say you had something going on and everything was extremely well, you could maybe take a nap if someone else is covering and you have your phone on, blah blah blah. In Costa Rica, you have to have the beds, because most of the time the residents in these 33-hour shifts, they're able to sleep approximately 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so now let's talk about the work week. So per definition, a full work week or full time is 40 hours. Partial time, no, half time is like 20 hours. So Doctors usually work much more than that wherever you're at. So in the US, they set the limit, ACGME set it to 80 hours. You can't work more than 80 hours. If you're working more than that, you have to let your program know, and your program has to give you some hours back. So if you worked a week of 82 hours, next week they have to let you go earlier or something like that. Have I had to do it? No. Will I have to do it? No. The maximum I've worked for now, and I've already been through the rotations that require most time from you, is like 74 hours tops ICU. In Costa Rica, did I work over 80 hours? Difficult, right? I'd say maybe. Yeah, I did. Now that I'm seeing this, I did. How can you work? So, in average, what is the average work week in the US if you follow the guidelines from ACGME, which most programs follow? So, I won't say that anywhere you're in the US, there won't be exceptions that you're overworked and they're exploiting you. That may happen. But if that happens, probably you're in a program that it was like your last resort. It's a place that you probably didn't even like, and it was getting in there or not going to residency at all. And in the end, you probably said, man, it's all I can do, and this is better than, it could even be better than Costa Rica, right? So, okay. But in summary, if you follow the ACGME guidelines, you should be working approximately 62 hours. Yeah, if you're in the wards, so 5 days straight, 1 day off, 5 days straight, 1 day off, and every 5 days you have a not night shift. You have a call day, meaning that so it's 5 days of work. 4 of those days is a 10-hour work day from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And one of those days you're on call, which means it's a 12-hour work day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And every 5 days, 1 day off. If you make the math, we're talking about 62 hours, 62-hour week. Now, if we talk about Costa Rica and or Latin America, where I was, I had a shift every 4 days. So that means that I have an extra shift every 4 days, and the week has 7. So it means that it was only 1 shift per week, meaning that, taking into account that only shift, it would make me work 65 hours if that extra shift was between Monday, including Monday, to Friday. But if that shift falls on a Saturday, it would make me have to work a little more hours, 70-hour week. And if that shift falls on a Sunday, it would have to make me work 74-hour week, okay? So if you're on every 4 day extra shifts, you shouldn't be overworking more than 80 hours, which is 2 full times. But I'm saying that I did work more than 80 hours in Costa Rica. Why is this? It's because that nothing's perfect. So sometimes there was some problem and you had to do the shift like every 3 days. So if you have to do an extra shift every 3 days, it means you'll have to do 2 extra shifts in a week. And that would make you have to work over 80 hours a week. What are the reasons for that? Maybe you wanted a lot of money, more money, because they paid you for these extra shifts. Or there was a complication, or you were sick here, so you had to compensate over there, or this or that. So yeah, much in Costa Rica and Latin America, eventually you're working more than 80 hours some weeks. In average, you're working in the States 62 hours. It's probably largely unchanged a week in the wards, and a week, the same week in the wards in Costa Rica, it's anywhere from 66 to 68 hours average. So yeah, in average, you're working approximately 4 to 6 hours more a week in Costa Rica. That's like the summary of that. And the good news in the US is that you don't have to do these long shifts, so your circadian rhythm is a little better. Eventually you'll get to have to work in a night shift, so that, yeah, that disrupts your circadian rhythm, but you'll understand, okay, I have to adapt to this. It'll take you 5 days to 7 days, and eventually you adapt to nighttime, so 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And after that, after the month, you're back to day shift, so it'll take you another 7 days after that to adapt. And that's the only way. There's no way around it. Well, there is a way around it, which would be nice, which would be maybe the hospitals having a team that, or people that just do night shifts and they're well paid for it. I would assume they should be better paid than the people who work during the day, because if you're risking altering your circadian rhythm and your health, because that's what ultimately happens, you should be paid a little more. And that's a way that basically most residents wouldn't even have to work at nights. But that's something that may happen in the future, and maybe is happening in some of the hospitals in the US. And that's the story about work schedule in both places. I'll make another video on maybe another topic. Let me know what you want to know. That's all about it. See you later. Gotta post this.